What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and today we're going to be talking about a massive spike up in price that we just saw with CEI stock, Camber Energy, ticker symbol CEI. Let's take a look at the chart right here. You can see this massive green bar, and the continuation of that a couple of minutes later. We just kept shooting up for several minutes in a row, making massive gains on the day, right? We were down on the day until these massive green bars came in, and there's a very interesting reason for why. And what this could mean for CEI stock looking forward is actually very bullish, right? Because if you look at the long-term time frame, you can see that we have been struggling quite a bit, right? Even though we were up off our lows of 83 cents about 30 days ago, we had been down massively from our highs of 485. We crashed a ton on the Carousel Capital short report way back here when this thing just got manipulated to oblivion, right? It just got shot down to this $1.40 to $1.80 range that if you've been following this channel, you know this is a very important range for the stock, and it's actually very good to see this massive green bar pushing us back up into this range. But why this bar exists is a very interesting reason, right? There's actually something that could be pushing us up in the future, causing this bar, right? So first of all, let's look at why, right? The Camber Energy option alert that just came out on Bazinga a couple of minutes after that bar was Friday $1.5 call sweep near the ask. So what that means essentially, right, is that there is a ton of order flow coming into this $1.50 call option, right? You can actually see 31,000 call volume. And there's actually only 12,000 open interest. I'm not sure, maybe that will have to update. But basically what this means is that a massive buyer came in and bought a ton of these call options for the $1.50 strike price on October 22nd. And that is actually likely triggering some algorithmic trading, which in turn probably pushed up the price of the stock. And in addition, when so many call options are sold like that, it's likely that institutions then have to hedge their bets because they're likely selling these call options, trying to collect the premium on it. But when a big buyer comes in and buys all of those call options all at once, then it's likely that the institutions will have to start covering a little bit, right? Which we actually saw. That's what probably drove up this price so much. You can see that 12 million shares, almost 13 million shares were traded in a single minute alone. And that was pretty much all buying, right? This thing got shot up from $1.37 to $1.60 in 1 minute. So very impressive, and you can see that that actually sustained itself for a couple of minutes. Likely a couple of institutions had to do some buying to cover their positions that they just formed when those call options were sold, and that actually led to a huge spike up in the price, which is why we're up about 15% today, right? We're still up massively, even though we have been moving down a little bit over the past couple of minutes. But you can see that this drove a ton of interest up in the stock. Actually, if you look at Google Trends, you can see, if you search for CEI stock, that we are now expected to beat yesterday's record searches for the stock, right? People are searching for the stock more now because they saw this massive spike up in price. And this spike up is a self-contained instance, right? This just happened because the call options were purchased, and that's likely all that the price is going to move because of those call options. However, as a reaction to the massive move up in price and the rebounding into this $1.40 to $1.80 zone, which is continuing a potentially bullish pattern that we're seeing with CEI stock, right? The fact that we are not dropping below $1.40 to $1.80, the fact that we're able to stay in this range is actually very good, because we were breaking down a little bit earlier today. We were starting to drop below this range, and if we actually stay out of that range for too long, then it's likely bearish for the stock and will continue moving down. However, because we were able to rebound into that range, it could be driving up some more buying pressure for the stock over the next little bit. Now, obviously, some people are likely taking notice that this thing has pumped up so much and are probably trying to get out their positions, right? A couple of people are probably paper handsing this thing, trying to sell because they realize, hey, this thing just pumped up a bunch. It hasn't been this high in, well, quite a long time, actually. If you look, very many days, about all of last week, it was pretty much below this price. So a lot of people are likely taking note of this and selling their shares. And if that's what you want to do, fine, so be it. That's completely acceptable. You know, obviously, this is a massive spike up in price, and any increase of that percentage of that caliber, it's fine to sell if that's what you want to do. If you want to sell this thing, if you don't think it's going up anymore, then fine by me, right? If you actually look at CEI stock on Reddit and Wall Street Bets, you can see that a lot of people have been discouraged by this stock, right? It's down to spot number 70. CEI is down 50% mention-wise, down 49 spots today. A ton of people have been discouraged by this stock because it hasn't shown them the action that they've wanted to see, right? It has moved down massively over the past while, right? A lot of people are probably buying in above $3, above $2, and are now down on money. So a lot of people obviously are disgruntled with CEI. Some people were just rewarded, though. If they've been holding for a bit, then they just got a pretty good selling opportunity right there. If they were looking to get out of it, obviously some people think it will continue to run up. It's very possible, right? We've put some distance between us and this massive manipulation of the stock price. So it's likely that institutions have had a chance to get out of their short interest, right? You can see that there was a massive decline in it and that it has continued to decline. We're down today as well. We're down to a 6% short interest as a percentage of the free float. So relatively low, very low actually. So institutions probably don't have too much of a vested interest in manipulating this thing downwards, which is why I think we're now able to start seeing some positive momentum. If you actually look, there have been several spikes up in price, and this could be a pattern that continues itself. Obviously, if you look at the last spike up that we had, we did follow it with a big red bar, which we're experiencing. A big red bar, not nearly as significant as the green bar that it was preceded by, but still a red bar for a couple of bars, right? We actually see a little bit of a decline for a while before we consolidate for a bit and then again see another spike right here, which we just experienced today. So we're going to have to see if that pattern continues, right? There's the possibility that we will continue this stairway up, right? We're essentially forming little stairs, which we can almost draw right here. You can see that this thing is moving up in these little blocks. So it'll be very interesting to see if we continue that pattern. Maybe we'll actually be able to use that to break out of the $1.80 level. We'll have to see if that kind of a thing continues. Obviously, it's not guaranteed, but there is some promise for CEI stock, especially looking at the fact that it has lost massive amounts of popularity. We saw on Reddit and Wall Street Bets, it was down 49 spots, down to number 70. Not many people are looking at it there. On StockTwits, it's not even mentioned as one of the top 10 trending stocks. And on Google, we are starting to actually see an increase, right? So this increase could transcend into other media sites, right? We could start to see more mentions on Reddit and Wall Street Bets. We could start to see more mentions on StockTwits, and that could actually lead to a rising in the stock price over the next while, right? The fact that we didn't just completely crash and get completely eliminated to basically into the under $1 is very bullish for the stock. And there's the real possibility that we will see an increase in price. Obviously, it's not guaranteed. This isn't financial advice. I'm not saying to buy the stock. I'm just saying that when you do see this kind of action, right, especially this kind of action where you see a massive call sweep, that is an indication to a lot of traders that potentially there's going to be a big move to the upside by the 22nd, right? Because these options contracts are expiring by October 22nd, which is this Friday. Today is a Tuesday, so we only have a couple of days left before these options expire. And it's likely that that person who placed such a large order, obviously they have a lot of capital to allocate to this position, but it's likely that they aren't just throwing that money away. They probably have some kind of plan for this, and it was actually able to move the stock price up quite a bit. So we're going to have to see what happens with that. Now, this isn't financial advice. I'm not trying to convince anyone to sell. I'm not trying to convince anyone to buy. I'm just giving you guys the news, the updates on what's happened with CEI stock. So if you enjoyed that, then please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. Other than that, guys, have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.